Shalom Aleichem everyone, it's Erev Shabbos, Parshat Pinchas, and I wanted to share with you two brief ideas on the Parsha. The first is a very famous concept, which I want to just add a little twist to it. There's a famous mysterious medrash quoted in the Ein Yaakov. What's the most important pasuk in the Chumash? And you have three deos. The first day it tells us, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, our avoda ben Adam lamakom is the most important, that Yichud Hashem is the most important pasuk, Kabbalas Ol Malchus Shamayim. Second day it says, V'ahavta Re'echa Kamocha, Ben Adam Lechaver is the most important concept. That has to be our focus. And of course, the third day quoted in this mysterious medrash is the pasuk in this week's Parsha, Sakeves Echad Taseh Baboker, V'Sakeves Hasheni Taseh Ben Arabayim, is the carbon tamid. And the idea, of course, is that the most important aspect in Avodas Hashem is the day in, day out. The day in, day out, that our actions every single day, consistency every single day, that represents exactly what a Jew is all about, to have a consistent avoda, consistent with the words, for example, of the Sefer HaChinuch when he discusses Carbon Pesach, Achrei HaMa'asim Nimshachim HaLevavos, is that the heart follows the actions, and if our actions are consistent every single day, we go ahead and move ourselves to be truly Ovdei Hashem, because indeed it's not enough just to be a believer, but the belief has to be expressed in daily action, consistency, and that's a critical component of our Avodas Hashem. However, if you take a look at the pasuk, when the pasuk itself describes the carbon tamid, it tells us that the carbon tamid is the carbon olas tamid ha'asuya bahar Sinai l'reach nichoach yishel Hashem. Why the reference, and what is this reference to the Olas Tamid, the carbon Tamid, Ha'asuya Bahar Sinai? And Rashi quotes two pshatim. Rashi quotes pshat number one is that this is the carbon, referring to the carbon that was done Bimei HaMiluim, during the time of these 7 days of the sanctification of the Mishkan. And the second pasuk, the second pshat, Dvar Torah, Ha'asuya Bahar Sinai, Hikish Olas Tamid La Olas Har Sinai. There was a special Ola of Har Sinai, Osa Shenis Karva Lifnei Matan Torah. This was the carbon tamid that was brought at Har Sinai Lifnei Kabbalas Torah. Why do you have this reference to the Olas Tamid Osui Har Sinai in the middle of this description of the carbon tamid? So the answer is very simple and is very obvious, and that is that there is a pitfall when it comes to your Avodas Hashem purely being an Avodas Hashem of the Karban Olas HaTamid, the carbon tamid every single day. What's the pitfall? It's true. Achrei HaMa'asim Nimshachim HaLevavos. It's true that the consistency day in, day out is so critical, but what often is the flip side of that is that very often our Avodas Hashem can become rote. We can go to davening and not miss a single minyan. We can have our Sedar every single day, put on tefillin every single day, put on our tzitzis every single day, do even a daily chesed. But sometimes it loses its meaning, it loses its freshness, it loses its enthusiasm. And we do it as we do other things in our lives. A checklist, yes, Shachris, check that, Mincha, check that, Tefillin, check that. And that's the message of this pasuk, telling you, when you do that carbon tamid, you should understand, it's the same exact carbon that was brought Ha'asuya Bahar Sinai at Kabbalas Torah. Same carbon, same Ola. And with the same bren, the same energy, the same enthusiasm and excitement you brought that first time right before Kabbalas Torah, your mamish lifnei Hashem. Understand that your carbon tamid daily, your daily Avodas Hashem is no different. And the same energy, enthusiasm that you had when you put on tefillin the first time as a young bar mitzvah boy is the same energy you were supposed to bring to the tefillin every single day. That's already a tremendous challenge. That's already, of course, the famous vort that we all know, that David HaMelech says, Shifti b'beis Hashem kol yimei chayai, allow me, enable me to dwell in the Beis Hashem my entire life, ulevakir beheichalo, and be a visitor in the heichal. What does it mean to be a dweller and a visitor? That's the idea, is that I want to be there all the time, kol yimei chayai, but at the same time I want to have that freshness, that energy as if I'm a visitor. That's a very unique challenge. And then you're accomplishing everything. You're bringing the uniqueness and freshness of something that's brand new, which is always very exciting, with the consistency of the day in, day out, and that's how a person has the full package. That's the deeper idea, the deeper message that you find in the Korban Ola. It's not just the daily Ola of Esakeves Echa Taseh Babok, Esakeves Hashem Taseh Ben Arbayim, but it's also the Olas Har Sinai, with that energy, that freshness, that enthusiasm. That's idea number one. Idea number two, very briefly, the beginning of the Parsha. So we're told about Pinchas, and he does this act of zealotry. He goes ahead and kills Zimri and Cosby, and therefore he's given Kuhunas Olam. So there's a story told. I heard actually this week from Rav Sobolovsky in the NTSY Kol. He tells the story that Rav Shimon Schwab, who became the leader of the Breuers community in Washington Heights, as a youngster went to visit the Chafetz Chaim. And the Chafetz Chaim asked the young Rav Shimon Schwab, listen, are you a Kohen? He says, no, I'm not a Kohen. And the Chafetz Chaim said, why are you not a Kohen? How come you're not a Kohen? And Rav Shimon Schwab was a little flummoxed. He was a little flabbergasted. What do you mean, why I wasn't a Kohen? My father wasn't a Kohen. My grandfather wasn't a Kohen. Why should I be a Kohen? Why are you not a Kohen? Because my father wasn't a Kohen. So the Chafetz Chaim told him, yes, you're right. Your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather weren't Kohanim. I am a Kohen. And do you know why I'm a Kohen? Because my father was a Kohen, my great-grandfather was a Kohen, and you know why they were Kohanim? They were Kohanim for something, because of something that happened thousands of years ago. What happened thousands of years ago was Pinchas had a challenge. There was a situation, and Pinchas had to respond to that situation. And because he had that koach to go ahead and understand what the right response was and to make that right response, so he was given the bracha for Haisa lo ulazaro acharav bris kuhunas olam. Because of something, says the Chafetz Chaim to Rav Shimon Schwab, my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather did so many years ago, that has everlasting impact, and that is why I'm a Kohen today, because of something that happened 2,000 years ago. Wow, it's a very profound idea. Had Pinchas not done that, so Rashi tells us, he wouldn't have been a Kohen. He wouldn't have had that Kedusha. It might have gone to a different line of Aaron. It wouldn't necessarily have gone to his line of Aaron. And therefore, all the progeny forevermore of Pinchas ben Aaron HaKohen are going to have that schus of being kahuna. We think our actions don't mean so much. Maybe they mean a little bit to ourselves. But understand here very profoundly, this was the message that the Chafetz Chaim was clearly giving to the young Rav Shimon Schwab. Understand that the things you do today have impact not just on you, but they can impact your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. They could have impact for a long, long way out, for a long way down the line. Understand and appreciate that everything you do has a ripple effect. And the things that happen today impact tomorrow and the next day and the day after. So when you go ahead and contemplate the messages over here, your carbon tumid daily, which you bring with that energy of Har Sinai, understand it's not just for today. It's not just something that's going to impact you and your life today, this week, but it has the ability to have that tremendous ripple effect that will affect generations upon generations, your family for many generations later. That's the koach that you have. That's the message of Pinchas and his action of kanos, and that's the impact of the Korban Olah. I wish everyone a tremendous Shabbos Kodesh.